Hello, I'm Athletic Director Josh Burlow from the University of Denver. I'm excited to be spending a few minutes today with Sidney Barbier of our Nordic ski team. Sidney has been awarded the College Women's Sports Inspiration Award. It is a national award for a really compelling story about adversity and battling through challenges and achieving success, and excited to chat a little bit with you about that and what that means to you. And we couldn't be prouder of your career academically, competitively, and for earning this incredibly prestigious honor. So thanks for spending a few minutes with us. And before we get too much into your story, why don't you tell us a little bit about what it means to win this award?
Yeah. First of all, thank you so much. I think for me, this even just being recognized as a finalist was a really big deal for me. So then to actually win the award is obviously huge. I think I'm most grateful for the fact that I'll be able to get to tell my story, even though it may not be specifically related to anyone who has what I went through, but everyone goes through their own pain and adversity in some point in life, and be able to tell those people that there is hope out there, I think is the biggest piece for me, to be that inspiration.
It's awesome that you're so comfortable sharing your story and understanding what it'll do for others. So, as an impressive student athlete, you battled through this nutcracker syndrome for about 7 years, including 3 of your years here at DU. Tell us exactly what nutcracker syndrome is.
Yeah, so it's a kind of weird name for what it is, but basically it's when you have this vein that takes blood to your kidney. It's called like the renal vein, and it's basically being compressed by some other veins in your body. And that compression causes the blood to kind of flow backwards and get clogged and backed up. So it's kind of like that nut being compressed by a nutcracker. And for some people, it doesn't necessarily cause pain. Sometimes people have it their whole lives, but in my case, it caused severe pain both in my back and then abdomen and pelvic pain as well.
So tell us a little bit about that pain. I mean, what was it like on a daily basis? How severe was it? How debilitating was it?
Yeah, I think when it started out, it was kind of just like this, there's this sharp pain. I'm not sure what's causing it. But it kind of, as it progressed, it kind of got worse and worse. It did become, like you said, debilitating, I think is a really good word for it. I think I would have to go home during, classes or during ski races or during training. And all I could do is kind of curl up in my bed with my heating pad. At some point you don't cry anymore because it's, that crying's not going to help. But I think it was this kind of scary pain because I didn't know what was causing it, if it was in my head, if I was crazy, or if it was real. But I think it's more than just like a stomach ache. It was definitely this like sharp stabbing pain, twisty pain that I wouldn't go away.
And how did they finally figure out what it was?
Definitely a very, very long journey. If you look back at all my medical records, it's kind of crazy to see. But I think originally it kind of was a process of exclusion. So you got to, exclude all the more common things and keep going. I did have, multiple exploratory surgeries and other surgeries, thinking that they'd find the diagnosis, and then I'd find out it wasn't the actual diagnosis or causing my pain. I finally ended up at the Cleveland Clinic, which is obviously a well-renowned research hospital known for their kind of like innovative approaches. And I did finally meet a doctor who looked at my scans and was like, "This is what you have, and I think we can fix it." But obviously, like you said, it took 6-7 years to get to that point.
And you use the term journey. Talk a little bit about how you coped with the pain, but not just physically, mentally, and the roller coaster of you think it's been figured out. You get to the point where you believe that you've turned the corner, and then it comes back again.
Yeah, I think the false hope was definitely one of the hardest things for me to go through, especially obviously mentally. At some point, you just kind of stop having that hope because you're like, all right, yeah, sure, this doctor thinks they know what they're doing, but do they really? But obviously, you still had to have that little bit of hope. And even with the nutcracker syndrome diagnosis, I didn't know if the surgery was actually going to cause everything to get better, like they were saying it was going to. So I think the biggest coping for me came obviously in physically too, like being able to still ski and still go to classes and still perform the best of my ability, trying to be as, I guess, normal as possible, if that's even possible. But I think I definitely was a challenge and something that I had to find support from others at some point because it wasn't going to necessarily just come from me.
Of course.
Yeah.
So despite all of this, you are highly involved in music, student government, sustainability. How were you able to achieve and follow some of those passions and be successful and tremendous academic success as you were navigating something that I think very few people, A, are experiencing, or B, can really understand?
Yeah, I think especially going into college, I knew I didn't want to let it stop me. I did, I chose a school close to home, partially because I needed to be, close to family and the doctors that I had. But I think I went in knowing I wanted to continue my music and continue academics. And I met Rogan, the head coach of the Nordic ski team, and he was like, "You want to be able to do both of these? Like, I'll support you, but I don't know." And I was like, "I can do it." And I think being able to have so many things going on was kind of my way to distract myself. And I learned how to, balance things, and I wasn't practicing 3 hours a day. I was, focused on the ski season during the ski season. And then sustainability, like being active and in the community and helping others in different ways was something that was really important to me. And I think having, changing someone else's life made me feel better about, okay, sure, my life might not be perfect when I'm going home at night.
So those passions helped you navigate sort of the day-to-day challenges of the pain and the uncertainty?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think having something I can still be good at, and yes, there's moments where I had to step down and couldn't be that high level. But I think a lot of people had probably no idea what I was going through. I definitely was very good at hiding it, but they definitely helped me be like, all right, I can just get through this orchestra rehearsal. I have these things to look forward to, or this next ski race, even though there was a lot of unknown going on.
One of the incredible things about sport is it gives us a group, a family, a team that helps us navigate these challenges and navigate adversities. And really it gets to why we play sports and the life lessons that it provides that make us so successful in life. Tell us how your teammates, your coaches, and others helped you get through this.
Yeah, I mean, right away, when I actually first met the head coach, Rogan, I had just had my gallbladder surgery, which is one of the things that they thought was gonna help. And I was, coming into this as a, D1 athlete saying, okay, I just had this surgery. I'm hoping to get better. But he was supportive kind of right off the bat, even though we didn't know what we were dealing with. He was always like, communication, and like if I had to miss a training session, I missed a training session. And then I think in terms of teammates, I definitely wasn't as open about it at first. I wanted to be seen as strong and not, sure, not the weakness piece of it. But once I was able to be more open, I definitely found my people who were, there for me when I was crying after races, or if I needed, some support, just even during a training session. So like you said, it definitely is a family. And, graduating and looking back, I'm like, I went through a lot of different teammates because everyone, has their 4 years. But I think it definitely have some people that I'll, stay in contact with for, hopefully a long time in the future.
It's incredible. And then you tore your hip later.
True.
And how did that fit into this story?
Yeah, so definitely. So I had my big surgery at Cleveland Clinic last March. And then I went into my summer feeling really good, like pretty much pain-free. I was training a lot, roller skiing up in Tahoe and doing, putting in all the strength. I also had a concussion too going into the summer, but I then started, having this pain in my hip that I'd felt the last season. And when I finally got the diagnosis and found out I needed surgery, it was the only way to fix it. It was pretty devastating because I was like, I wanted my senior season to be so good so badly, but at least I knew what was happening, and I was able to be like, all right, I'm just gonna, have the injections and have the PT. But it was for sure another challenge that also wasn't very visible, especially during ski races. I didn't tear my ACL. It wasn't something, but I made it through, and I'm glad I competed in the season, regardless of how it turned out.
And talk about a moment in competition where you got there, right? Because that was one of the objectives. How do I get through all of this and follow one of your many passions of excellence? Talk about a moment in competition where you were just able to sort of feel like you got there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing, and my dad always tells me this, is like, even just being at the start line, like I deserve to be there. Like I am just as good as, my competitors, and being like, yes, there's an NCAA athlete from Utah right next to me. And maybe I can only ski with her for a little bit, but at least I'm there, and I have what it takes in different scenarios. Maybe I could have gone different places, but like just being there. And then I think during a race too, like when I had one athlete from CU who we'd always be kind of like neck and neck, and like, sometimes she'd beat me, sometimes I'd beat her, but like knowing that, yes, like even though I have other things going on, like I was still competitive, and I still, finished. Not many people can do a 20-kilometer classic race, especially in a blizzard. Like it's like something that's pretty cool to be able to just finish and have just the tenacity to do that.
That's incredible. Talk about DU and how it supported you. I get asked a lot about the University of Denver and our athletic department and all the success that is seen, and my answer is usually people and culture, right? We've got incredible people from the staff to the coaches, to the student athletes, and a strong culture. Talk a little bit about what it meant to you to be a pioneer, and you've contributed to that legacy and the people and culture that make DU special.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, DU obviously had everything. Like, there's not many universities I looked at that could have a music school and an amazing science program and D1 athletics at a really high level. So I think right away, just from like that perspective, that's kind of why I came to DU in the first place. But like once I got here, then like you said, it was more about the people. And obviously, I had a great coach, and I've had great professors that have led me to some really cool things in terms of like more of the academic sides and being able to do research. And I got to write a textbook, which like not many undergrads have that opportunity. And I think I was able to find those opportunities because I was looking for them. But there was also people there who were supporting me on that journey. Like, we can take you as far as you want to go. So I think having those people who are pushing you around you, and especially teammates too. Like, I was the only American girl this year from the Nordic side, and I think you're training with 23-year-old Norwegians, and it's really cool to be able to have those people who are supporting you and pushing you to be the best version of yourself, hopefully on like that day-to-day basis.
Pretty confident you became the best version of yourself. So I'm going to read this because I want to make sure I get it right.
Yeah.
You've just graduated with bachelor's degrees in environmental science and music with a minor in physics. What's next?
Yes, I know. I'll be graduating Saturday, I'll be graduating, which is exciting. And I think next year I'm actually going to be in Grenoble, France. I actually received a Fulbright Award, which is a pretty cool deal to have the U.S. and French government supporting me in pursuing a master's degree in Earth, Planetary, and Environmental Science, which is kind of a mouthful, but it's a 2-year master's program that I'm really excited for, and to be in the heart of the Alps is pretty exciting.
Yeah, well, now you've made most of us feel pretty inadequate at this point, so thank you and congratulations for your success. First, is there anything else that you want to touch on about your story and share with folks?
Yeah, I mean, I think we covered most of it. I think just the fact that, yes, it definitely obviously took so long, and I think one piece I don't know if I really touched on is the not feeling heard, and I think it's something especially young women are dealing with. And I think that's the coolest part when you said at the very beginning, like, what does it mean to win this award? And I think it's kind of like being that voice, because obviously there's things that are more obvious than others, and everyone has their own struggles, whether it's physically or mentally, but being listened to and being heard, I think, is really important, and something that hopefully I can inspire others to speak up and know that they're not crazy. Pain can be real.
It's a great message. To just close this out, we are so proud of your accomplishments as a pioneer at the university in so many different ways, and tremendous respect for you embracing and telling your story to inspire others, and incredibly confident that you are going to be wildly successful in whatever you seek to do, while concurrently inspiring others and doing some good and giving them some confidence to use their voices and to fight through the adversity and the unknown. And it's in 25 years and thousands of student athletes that I've been around, and many, many incredible stories. This is absolutely one of the best. So we're so proud of you, and congratulations on being where you are today. And we cannot wait to follow what you do with your future.
Thank you so much.